Yeah, there's you see that too, Jess, right? Like you see the difference in the way they grew up. Like grow up, there's no innocence.
Yeah,
I mean that even they know as a teenager about anything Ukraine, Russia. As soon as they open their phone, there's free news everywhere. You used to have a job to be able to read the newspaper. Like you had to buy it. And when you were a kid, you had like, remember when $5 was a lot? You had $5. That was like 2 slices of Coke.
Yeah.
And then if you had, dude, when I was a kid, you had $20 on you, dog? Do you remember when you had a 20 spot? When I had a 20 spot on me, I felt rich. Like $20, you were like, let's ball out. We'll get a pie. We grab some 40s. Remember when 40s were like $2?
Yeah.
$3?
We would buy the paper, but to read the sports page, that was it.
Dude, this is the truth. This is funny because this is an interesting thing for people to know. You wouldn't buy the paper, but you would flip it over. Like they would be out on the newsstand outside of bodegas. So when you were a kid, you'd flip it over and then open it up and read it for free. You basically stole the news.
Yeah.
For like a couple seconds, you just want to see what the Yankees do, what's the standings, If there was an article here about Wade Boggs, you kind of perused it real quick. Yeah. But that was it. You never turned it over to see what was going on with Dan Quayle. Like, what did Dan Quayle? Nobody cared, It's funny how that's changed, man.
Well, they're trying to activate these kids, get them young.
Yeah.
That's when you're impressionable,
Yeah. Yeah, it's really like a fight for kids' attention from corporations to media outlets,
politics,
because they're trying to get just the sheer number of them, right? And also the millennials is a big generation, so much like the baby boomers, it's a big generation. So politicians have been pandering to them, and that's where wokeness comes from, because they're going like, we want votes. The thing is, that's why it's become popular in commercials, in corporations, in content, in politics. That's the direct reason why the Democrats pay so much attention to wokeness, is because they're pandering to what they believe is a strong portion of their voter base.
In the future, essentially, since you're so young.
Well, it's just the numbers, too. Yeah. Even right now, it's the numbers. It's the sheer numbers. It's the sheer amount. It's the same thing that happened with the baby boomers, like with Social Security, Medicare. They were all hippies, right? But they were a large generation. So just by virtue of the fact that we're a democracy, you need those votes. Yeah. So you have to pander them. In order to get elected, you had to give them these fucking lazy hippies what they wanted. And what they wanted was, we want the government to plan our retirement. We want our we want to be, when we get sick, we want to be taken care of. We want to be a burden on the system. Hook me up to every machine you got. I don't want to die because I'm a selfish baby boomer who grew up just in hedonistic pleasure, doing every drug, fucking everything, smelling armpit hairs, listening to the best music, and not wanting to work because of the man. So when they grew up and they got jobs, they were just like, you designed this whole system for me, man, or else we don't vote for you, man. And these are the things I want, man. And that's essentially it, right? In a nutshell.
Yeah.
And so that wokeness is the same thing.
Plus, when you're young, you're more impressionable, right? So they try and plant an idea in your head when you're a kid.
True.
And then, it's going to be harder to get rid of that.
Yes. I think that's the secondary cause. I think the first immediate cause is the actual votes. I mean, you only have to be 18 to vote. And they're always trying to mobilize the young, and what the young are into is that wokeness. That's what the kids want. There's most of wokeness is a very good thing, right? These kids are socially conscious. That stuff is good, man. Like, all that stuff is good. Look at the things that have happened that are good because of the pressure from that generation, which is, they're now older. They're like middle-aged millennials, right?
Yeah.
They're like
Millennials
40,
are 40, yeah.
40, You're Gen Z, right? Gen what?
Gen Z.
Gen Z. So the millennials, Gen Z is not as big as millennials. It's not as big of a generation. So millennials were big. People were fucking. I don't know what it was. What was it? Was it because of Keith Sweat? What happened? Why?
Keith Sweat, Jodeci. You had everybody.
Yeah, everyone was fucking, I guess, then.
Genuine's dance moves still look applicable.
It was just, you got to, maybe there's a direct cause between R&B was pretty kicking then. That like people, maybe that, because the baby boomers, it was post-war. So the population was depleted, so people started fucking. The American dream, they got the house, have the kids, 2 kids, the cars. What was it for the millennials? Was
Cisco.
It was Cisco. It was the thong song. It was just the thong song. Is there a reason? Is there theories on that?
Yeah, because the boomers all had kids, and there's a lot of boomers, so there's a lot of kids from the boomers, right?
Because the millennials are kids of the boomers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they were just imitating their parents?
No, there's just a lot of them. There's a lot of boomers.
Right. So a lot of boomers had kids. I also think Cisco had something to do with it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it had something to do. It was a good roaring time. Those years, they were coming to age. They all started having kids, right? Like the 90s, they started having kids, late 80s, right? So it'd be like 85, 86. They started having kids. People, a lot of people had money. They wanted it was a continuation of the fruitful years, and people were banging. And then Cisco put out the thong song, and I think just dicks got hard, dog. Pussies got wet, dicks got hard, and it was on.